Does my smile confuse you? Or remind you you're here?
Sound off the horn, blow the whistle. We have to always start with a little silliness because we're going to get really very, very serious on this show because I'm going to ask you a very important question. And Rain, my co-host, producer, soothsayer, lover, childlike playmate, is here. And what else are you?
Partner in crime.
Okay, murder and crime. So today I'm going to ask the audience, the 2 or 3 people that are listening, soon to become 200 or 300 million. Comedy or tragedy? Our show title, Does My Smile Confuse You? We're really asking you to choose. We're trying to simplify life. That's what humor, comic sense, all the stuff we're selling attempts to do for our life because we're inundated. We're all overwhelmed. We're like dogs chasing our tails. So we're trying to bring a whole different theme to podcast in general. And at the same time, we're actually talking about how to think because tragedy is for those who feel. We all feel, hopefully. Comedy is for those who think. So in the shows we've done, the 8 shows, I, of course, am learning more and more about the subject that I profess to know more than anyone else. Ha ha ha. But I'm trying to take it in a different direction because humor and comedy, going all the way back to Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, all the big boys and girls, nobody really broke it down to my satisfaction. So I've spent a long time, 30 or 40 years, delving deeper into it so I could hopefully articulate it. And I'm going to just read this because it's from a book, Satirista. And to my right, so we're talking about tragedy and comedy, and pick one. Now you can say, well, how can I pick one when life is both? And you would be right. However, once you pick, it's a mindset, once you pick a direction, as I had to do very young, to head into, my life was filled with tragedy at a very young age, and I had to overcome, as most people overcome many things, and it is what you overcome. It's the hurdles. Life puts hurdle after hurdle in front of you. It's how you jump over them, how high you can get over, how many hurdles you can overcome. We say it in sports. You've heard it many times on our show. Life is nothing but a series of comebacks, especially with all my injuries, and leave it all on the field. Same is true in business. If you put a fighter into your, I don't care if it's business or being a chef, if you put everything into it, try as hard as you can, one of Rain's favorite lines is, you can't fail. Miles Davis, perhaps the greatest jazz artist, said, there are no mistakes. So I learned to forgive myself because I had parents that were perfectionists. And I too fell into that because I was a prodigy of baseball. And so I took it very personal. I took life personal, like we all do. And why me and all that stuff. But in a very short time, I left that behind. And I started to go down the comedic road and knew that life was going to throw tragic events in front of me. And before I go on, may I read this before you respond? Because I want to hear it. I know, because Ray is going to participate, but she knows we haven't done shows in a few weeks, and I need to break down what we're trying to do. The comic sense is more important than common sense. We always talk about the joke. We've lost our common sense. You can see it top to bottom. So this is really interesting. And I'm looking at a picture of Robin Williams. He's a perfect example of a true genius at comedy, but what a tragic figure. In the end, even taking his own life. So he was obviously hurting and suffering. And even with his great mind, you could talk about Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey talks about making his mother laugh. Howard Stern talks about making their mothers laugh because they want to move through and past and help their mom and love them. So they all use comedy and humor and all this stuff to get people out of a trapped mindset. So here's from Satirista. The biggest favor we do for people is to release them. This is coming from all the great comics. The biggest favor we do for people is to release them. Society, culture puts them in jail, and we let them out. So when a great comic stands on a stage and you're laughing at the truth belt, the things that he or she is saying, the rule makers, whoever they are, decided a box you're going to live in. We need to be reminded that you can step out of the box and you can go right back in it again if you want to. So you have a choice. Yes, tragedy and comedy. We're trying to sell you on the idea of comedy, humor, and comic sense. And I wrote a line the other day after delving, like I said, deeper and deeper. Comedy can reveal truth faster than philosophy. Please think about that. Comedy can reveal truth faster than philosophy. And everybody's talking on all the podcasts about consciousness. And I know you want to do the seven consciousness?
Seven.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. But it's really something unique that we're trying to do here. And Rain's here because she's bilingual. And I want to get into what we've said and how you've used it to overcome the few tragedies that you've had in your life. Because you were funny from the get-go. I met her 3 years ago. We fell in love. And I joked on the show about she's proposed to me 12 times. Ha ha ha, I finally accepted. With stipulations. But anyhow, so did you find you were laughing at the things that hurt you in school and all the things you had to deal with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
always.
And you went to a Catholic school, so yeah.
No, just of course. I mean, it hasn't been another way to deal with things with me.
Yeah.
So I understand your philosophy. About humor. It is so crucial for life to existing.
Yeah. And you were telling me about, since the Mexicans, Latinos have their own sense of humor. We even talked about different cultures. Everybody has different things they laugh at, obviously, because of what's going on in their worlds. But I mean, to me, there's no way I could survive the nightly news. It's just too painful. And I'm sure that's true for anything else. So Rainey and I watched, we caught up, we hadn't seen Bill Maher's show. And Bill Maher says on his show, he says, well, most of my audience comes to me because I give them the news. And he, like Jon Stewart, a lot of other comics, they just take the news of the day. They have Donald Trump now, perhaps the greatest person to take and have fun with, make fun of. And we've always had that from Mark Twain to Will Rogers. We've always had great comics that helped us to overcome us feeling helpless and not in control. That the power brokers manipulate us, sell us what they want to sell us. We buy it gladly. So we're trying to get you individually. It has to be done individually. You've got to embrace the idea that you can laugh through your pain and hurt, which I already know everybody does. So they have always said, well, Daryl, you can't teach people to have a sense of humor. You either have it or you don't. And I don't agree with that. Do you agree with that? No. And so it's personal responsibility made playful and fun. If you can make personal responsibility, which nobody wants to take, you see it in politicians. Politicians never admit you're wrong. just go hide in your room, do this. And so Bill Maher and the other comics that make fun of politicians, that's like stealing. They all say so many different things going in when they're trying to grasp the office. And then once they grasp the office, they get locked in, everything changes. And then Bill Maher also brought up last night, which is a really good point, as they exit, a few days before they exit or before they die, then they speak the truth. For they'll write a book as they exit politicians after 4 or 5 decades of working in Congress or what have you. So guys, you can see the comedy being played out. We're all sitting in our living rooms going, oh, I've got to laugh at this. It's just too painful. I mean, we watched and the stuff that I heard, and then Iran, Iraq. I'm not going to talk about the war, but now we're sending $300 billion. And then the January the 6th, these are just little tidbits I got from Bill Maher. To Iran, so we're going to give them $300 billion. So, oh, maybe that's good. They can pay for their nuclear. Now they can really go to work and build them. And then Bill Maher talked about, so many little things that are insane, absolutely insane. So guys, you are witnessing insanity played out. So we want you to tap into the show, please. I'm not going to do the cliche, push that button and subscribe. You subscribe if you want to, but subscribe to living your life, learning to laugh in the face of all of this insanity, nonsense, ugliness, grotesqueness. I don't care whether I know nothing about the Epstein file. I know nothing. And I tell people, I told them 40 years ago, I said, why would you watch the news every night when it's just a different name of who murdered who and who the poor suspect was? Then my cell phone. This is, where do I have it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. My phone is being used as a camera. Okay, so on the phone, and I hate my cell phone. I had a landline until a year ago. Then I was forced to get it. Yes, I'm fighting technology with every fiber of my being. So I'm on the phone. I'm talking to somebody. There's so many interruptions, life on hold, this and that. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Where are you? Bad area, this and that. So I'm on the phone, and all of a sudden, I get a silver alert. And the phone is vibrating as I'm in a storytelling, great conversation with my friend Billy. We're having it, and my phone is vibrating in my hand, and it goes, silver alert. Chang Chow is missing. Chang Chow has been missing.
Silver alert.
Oh, that was silver alert. Yeah, silver alert. Chang Chow is missing.
Do you know what's silver alert?
No.
It's for elderly.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So I got my silver alert and Chang Chow. And why are the elderly getting what? We don't
No. He's an elderly. He is an elderly person.
Chang Chow?
Yes.
I thought it was a girl, a woman.
Well, or she or he.
Okay.
But she's like, in her 70s, 80s, 90s. It's silver alert. It's someone who's older. Like, people have Alzheimer's and they go out.
They get lost.
They get lost. So that can be one of the things.
Yeah, my cousin was like that. She walked in her sleep. And I caught her one time on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh my.
Yeah, pretty good. So, yeah, we're laughing at walking your sleep all the time. You've got to laugh at everything. In fact, my father, to digress, lived to be 102, and I had to teach my parents, which is important. It took 20 years. So, guys, I know this is going to take a while. 20 years, I taught them how to laugh at their son and laugh at themselves. So I know it can be taught. Because of my own family, I spent a long time getting them to laugh at me, trying to be more and more true to my nature, which is what you all have to do with your families, and you have to do with your children. And you have to let children play. All children should be in sports. I say it on every show virtually. And all children should be at arts. It doesn't matter what level. Because fall down, go boom, you're going to... What's our 3 C's that they're going to put up this week? Criticism, We're very much afraid of criticism. Look at our president. He can't take a single hit. He'll fire the person the next hour if you don't agree with him. Comedy is the key to handling criticism. And the third component is clarity. So you have criticism, which is comedy is that, social, emotional, everything. Then you have comedy in the middle, and then you have clarity. It's really about intelligence. I'll get to my book in a moment that I wrote 25, 30 years ago and gave up.
You can look at this camera.
I can look at that camera. Yeah. So, the fact, let me go to some really interesting material here that, before I get to my book, we probably won't have time because Rain, she's also the producer, wants to keep it within 30 minutes, which is fine because I'm sure you'll get bored. And I know your attention span is that of a gnat, so bear with us. It's actually worth it. In the end, you might learn how to think using humor as the tool, because humor, there's a great, one of our favorite quotes, James Thurber, humor is emotional chaos remembered in tranquility. And that's reflection, guys. And a life without reflection is not worth living. Now, believe me, I barely made it out of high school. I never went to class. I was a prima donna jock. I didn't have to go to any classes, and I didn't. So I'm very uneducated. But I did later on, as I got various injuries, my friends all went to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, all the schools, born and raised in the Palisades. And on the west side, they all went to the top schools. So there is an adage, if you want to get smarter, hang around people that are smarter than you. And my friends, especially in sports, you have to have a sense of humor because you got to learn to control your emotions while simultaneously letting them out. And the same is true in life. So when I met Rain, I told her, I said, Rain, you should be a great attorney. Because like most, I think all attorneys should be women. Because guys, I never want to argue with my mother, my nonna, my nanny, my aunts, any woman from the time I was 3 all the way through. I never argued with a woman. They love to argue. They're better at arguing. They have the power of manipulation. It's one of the few things they have, which they need to deal with us, numbskulls. And look how we still try to hold women down. And look at the soccer documentary. Rain met because soccer's so big right now.
Yeah.
In 1971.
Yeah.
Tell them about that.
Copa 71. Well, it was the first World Cup.
World Cup?
Women's World Cup.
Yeah.
And 71, and it was in Mexico. And
Where you were born.
the Danish were there, Italians were there, the French were there, the English were there in Mexico. I mean, in the Estadio Azteca, where we just had the inauguration for the opening of the World Cup. And they had to, I mean, they couldn't believe it that they were going to go to a Women's World Cup. They put a lot of marketing to it. And the people from Mexico really wanted to make it work. And 110,000 people were in there.
Which is the most ever.
Ever.
Even now.
Yeah, ever in any women's sport. But what's interesting is that now, women's soccer is the fastest growing sport in the world at the moment. And what's interesting is that these women that are won championships lately in 91 and after that, they didn't even know about the Copa 71.
They kept it concealed.
They kept it concealed for 50 years. And Serena Williams and Venus Williams are part of the executive producers. Being women in sports, they wanted this
They
for
brought
women.
it forward.
Yeah, and it was really touching. And I cry and I felt a lot of emotions.
You got to see the documentary. Does it have a name?
Copa 71.
Copa 71. It's worth watching, especially now with soccer going on right now at big time. So, this is so painful. And we saw the women, some of them are still alive and they're being interviewed present day.
Yes.
And they were just shocked by all of this. And so we've held women down.
Oh, and how when they went back to their countries, I mean, when they arrived to Mexico, they couldn't believe how welcoming Mexican people were, and sombreros and happiness and
Yeah.
life, people alive. And it was a big thing for them. And they were doing
So
something.
didn't Mexico make it to the finals?
Yes, with the Danish. And
So
then,
they thought Mexico
Yeah.
was going to win.
Yeah.
They lost, and 110 or 20,000 people, this is in the documentary, went silent.
Yes.
Because Mexico lost. And then guess what happened? This is great.
yes.
They were playing Denmark now, I recall.
Yes.
So it's so fantastic. After a 5 minute, seemed like eternity, pause, they all start clapping.
Yeah.
Of course, they're clapping for their team and their girl, but they're also clapping for Denmark. And now all of a sudden, Denmark girls are hugging the Mexican team. Everybody's hugging everybody. I'm telling you, it's a very emotional thing. So sports bring people together. And you have to, when you get an injury, when you fall down, when you make a mistake. Miles Davis, there are no such things as mistakes. I loved him when I read that. And I agree. You can't fail because, guys, you're going to love it. I'm the biggest failure in the whole world, and I'll get to that. I've been the most rejected human being on earth because I try and have get engaged with everybody. And when you do that, you take risk. And I know young guys, so-called millennials, whatever name they want to tag, you're afraid to get rejected. It's all rejection. Life is all rejection. Rain's an actor.
I'm the millennial, but no, Gen Z are the one. They're after us
Z.
are the one because of all the technology. We still were born in 90s, late 80s, so we didn't have much technology, and we were more normal, interacting with each other. Playing in the streets and doing those kind
You're
of
the
things.
cutoffs, right?
Yeah. Yes, pretty much. In the 2000s, things changed because the internet was advancing really fast. And then look at now, 30 years, not even 30 years later.
So you Gen Zs and all these people that are going to college is worried about somebody saying boo or a name or something you don't like said and going to the dean and reporting them and all that stuff. Grow up. Just grow up. Because real laughter and humor is laughing at oneself, and it's maturity. That may not sound feasible right now, but learn that, because real maturity is laughing at yourself and laughing so you can listen. You don't have to laugh in the person's face, but a sense of humor will allow you to interact with anybody. That's my gift. I have a title that's going to come down, way down, one of my other titles for the show. I love titling them. I miss everyone. And I really do, because I was able to listen to the bums from the beach. I spent most of my life on the beach, and the billionaires and everybody in between. Their opinions, whatever, or you could have a real conversation. That's lost. The lost art of conversation. A debate. There's no such debates. And these ugly politicians that they're vile. There's no civility. So humor, how many, great, go ahead.
No, and
I get all worked up.
I was going to say, most of them are these older men.
Yeah.
That live in this conservative, retrovert, I don't know how to say it.
Their minds are locked.
Like square minds.
Yeah.
And for example, Finland, the country, they have for the past years been the happiest country in the world, and is mainly ruled by women. So that says something. And I was coming back to Copa 71, that I was going to say after the Danish one and everybody went back to their countries, they thought that, they were going to receive them back home with honor, ease.
Of course.
And nothing of that. To the Danish who won, no one was waiting for them, because the FIFA, which all men, decided that no, like women's soccer, no, couldn't be. They were born to be at home, to cook and to do that. So they had to fight that, and now
FIFA, they're crooks. They've spilled millions and billions of dollars with all this stuff. So I don't even want to get into that. I stay away from politics. Millennials, Gen Zs, we hate labels. We're trying to get you to even move past labels. A boomer generation, the love generation. Every decade, everybody gets labeled, every generation. So this show, I'm talking more seriously than ever, because it's really invaluable. It's very important what we're going to be saying on these shows. The last 37 shows, I'd like to apologize for them because it's like George Carlin. It took a long time to become George Carlin. He said, you know what? I'm fed up. I've got a decade maybe before he died. And yes, he got very dark. He went deeper and deeper, but he hit on all the truths. Who really runs the world? And it's not the politicians. And now we know more than ever, of which Bill Maher alluded to again, because of the format of his show, which we all love. He has people from the right, the left, and he exposes all of this stuff, and he tries to be as forthright. I don't care if you like him or don't like him. It's not about that. Always listen. Separate the personality from the content of what they're saying. That's key. Want me to repeat that? You got it. Just replay this. Can they replay?
You know, it's interesting that sometimes I have talked to my mom about all these things
Yes.
that we're talking about, and she mostly doesn't know about that at all. Like, her world in her mind is not this reality.
No, that's all sad. And I mean, listen, you can criticize me. Everybody said, well, you can't speak about certain things because you don't know about certain things, meaning the news. So they're right. How can you talk about something you don't know anything about? But we do it all the time. I'm talking about something I know. The things that we talk about on this show, that I talk about, it's coming from inside out. It's not even coming from this. We're not editing it because I just need to speak freely. So the format could be more direct. It could be more structured, but
Or more interactive, so it gets people attention. You
Yeah,
know, they
yeah.
they need slogans, big things, beat this. So instead of just kind of trying to,
yeah, but I'm just gonna, bear with me, and I'll make my adjustments. You have to make a few adjustments as our listeners, but it's very personal, and we are trying to make a very impersonal world personal. Okay, but don't take life or people personally. And there's a fine line in what I just said. So you really have to pay attention, because humor at the end of the day is the number one, I'll get to my book, the number one sign of intelligence. It doesn't mean I'm the smartest guy in the room, although there's only 2 people in the room, and Rafe is much smarter than me. She went to college, she's bilingual, on and on and on. So it's not about being the smartest guy in the room. It's about using humor as intelligence so you can interact again with anybody. And you're not going to tape something somebody says, especially if you don't know them really well personally. If you go to college with somebody and they say something in a moment and you're not even friends with them, even friends, don't take them. Just ask them why they said that. Think about it. Yeah. Are you tapping me because we have to go? Okay. So we have to go, but to continue. So remember, we're going to get to consciousness, because comedy is consciousness. And I will end it with this. I said it on another show. I had an evening, very short, but a good encounter with Sasha
Stay
Baron.
human, keep the change.
I don't laugh because life is easy. I laugh because I see. I don't laugh because life is can sell you stories. Then I laugh because I see. To be free. They call it normal. Sell you stories to panic. Charge you rent to worship the loudest fear. They call it normal, but a thought becomes a prison. To worship the loudest fear. But a thought. So I ask one honest question, not to win, just to win. So I ask, is this one honest question, found believing, not to win, or just to win? Is this true? I use found believing, like a flash, or just memory in a room full of certain lies. I use humor. Comics like flash isn't comedy. In a room full of certain lies. With a smile in its eyes. Comics say critical thinking is mercy. It's sight with a smile. Consciousness is breath and release. Critical thinking is mercy. At the story, consciousness is breath and release. If you can laugh Have a story and listen. You can find to a child asking his love sayings. I don't fix it and listen with answers. To a child I stay and give him space. I don't fix it so loud with answers. Not to escape. I stay but and to see what's always been true. So nothing real. Not to escape is against but you. To see what's always been crying. Nothing real. Does my smile against you confuse you? And lie or remind you you're here? Does my smile or remind you you're here? Or does my smile